It's set. Welcome to Crypto Meatheads, where I, Cliff Black, am joined by my good friend Jason Theobald and Andy Peters. We're three guys in our 40s, possibly going through a midlife crisis. Seems like that anymore. But we're diving headfirst into the world of digital assets. As we realize that retirement and financial security might be a bit further down the road than we thought. Man, that inflation report sucks. We're here to learn, share, and hopefully succeed in our crypto investments. All we ask if you find us valuable and fun, we ask you to share the show. So, with that being said, we go to our sponsors first. So, if you'd like to skip forward, it's about 2 minutes sponsors roughly. So, with that being said, I am sponsored by New Ethics Formulations. The links are in the show notes. They actually sponsor a guy who's only a great coach, just like I like to say, but their products are amazing. And what I want to talk to you about is a multivitamin called New Multi. A lot of people always ask me, are multivitamins worthwhile or not? Yes, this one is because it's in capsules and you're not going to poop out the hard stuff and your toilet's not going to go clink, clink like you normally hear on the other ones. It's loaded with antioxidants. You're talking about iodine, vitamin C, lycopene, all these things that you actually need. They're really good to help you have a great longevity and, most importantly, fortify your body and nourish your body because we're all missing out on minerals and vitamins at all times, I assure you. The discount code to support the show is Relentless10. I know a few of you have been buying and supporting the show and getting various things because new customers come through. I get that notification. I really appreciate that, and so does the show. Jay, what about you and AVH, man? Has he take a big gulp?
Yeah. Advanced vitality, we're here to help all your hormonal needs, anti-aging needs. We got all the peptides like the beauty peptide, GHKCU for your skin. Of course, we can do all your hormones, etc. So this month, I think we're running a discount on GLP-1s. If you're interested in that, you can DM me. Other than that, we can get your labs done, get you in with a nurse practitioner in all 50 states and take a look. And we sit down for about an hour an appointment. We don't rush you out the door. So that's the kind of care you'll get with us.
Yeah, one of my clients, John P, went there last week, the one I connected you with.
Yeah.
And he was blown away. He's like, "You're
Good.
right. Like, I should see a heart surgeon for my heart. I should see a hormone doctor for my hormones." I said, bingo. So he got educated just like he would on anything else. So it's really good, guys. At the very least, you're going to get labs, and at least you're going to know more whether you buy anything or not before you have the conversation. So, Andy, what about you in that amazing Discord group you called B3 Base? I was lucky enough to see it come across. I got in like at 40.0040. Watch that baby shoot up, only to come back down a little bit. But what's up with the Discord group?
Man, so you can find my Discord group at www.realandypeters, that's with a S, peters.com. You can click on join community or you can go all in with the VIP. If you go all in with the VIP, we do a bi-weekly meeting where we catch everyone up on the market, economic news, we go over the charts and then answer any questions you may have. If you join the community, you get access to a Discord community that we've had together now for 9 years total, with a ton of eyes on the different projects. And the one thing that I tell everyone is the more eyes you have on projects, obviously the more opportunity it is to make money and a better understanding you have of the markets. Because even like myself, there's days where I'm not staring at a screen, I'm not staring at the news, but then you have people that do that all day and they keep us all informed. So great community, great group of people, and we just enjoy trading and all trying to make a quick buck here and there. And B3, man, what a run. And it's stoked to see what that thing's doing. I think I'm going to add it to our list of conversation pieces that we have here on Crypto Meatheads. Is they've got some really good tech that I think is going to, maybe change how the industry looks at gaming and tokenizing.
I have a question for you. What do you think about Arrow Financial? So apparently, them, Ondo, and B3 Base are the ones that are linked with Coinbase heavily. And
Yep.
considering what Coinbase just posted for their how much money they had flowing through it yesterday, how they just destroyed all their projections. Uh,
Yeah.
it seems like almost like these three are the ones you just want to like put in your sandbag for the whole year.
It is. And that was kind of the thing is when everyone, I mean, we got to think with from the time we mentioned B3 until the height of its run was like a three, almost a 4X in one
Yep.
day,
Yep.
which is huge and typically unheard of unless it's a meme coin. But it's not a meme coin. They have utility, they have a team, they have, they've been putting out projects now for quite some time. And I think we're going to see that a lot more with these new companies that are coming out that are actually putting together a team and great utility is they're going to come out of the gate swinging. And like you said, they had crushed every projection they had. And I do think it is a sandbag one. Everyone was like, man, I'm going to sell. I'm going to sell. I'm going to put this to the side. And I'm like, guys, let's look at this long term, because to get in on ground level of some of these companies we look at and we're like, man, 3 to 4x is amazing. But what happens if you fast forward 2, 3, 4 years? I mean, you could ultimately be at a 15, 20, 30x. So the way I'm treating B3 is, it goes up in price when we see that retracement down, whether it's 20, 30%. I throw a little bit more in there. And with it being so cheap, it's not one you're having to throw 10, 15, 20,000 in. You can throw in 100 here, 500 here, 200 here, whatever your bank, account allows. And I think ultimately projects like that are going to win.
I
I
agree.
missed it. I'm looking at it right now. It's down 23%. So I'm looking for an entry. I'm putting into Ondo pretty much every low. It's hard. Like Andy, when someone has, so my cost basis is 128. 132 is probably a decent buy, but then my damn cost basis goes up. But at the same time, I mean, I guess if you believe it's going to be a $4 or $5 coin, that's stupid thinking, right?
Yeah, I mean it's always I mean it's just human nature. I wouldn't say stupid thinking. I just say it's human nature for you to constantly buy into something and be like, man, I'm having to buy it at a higher price. But
Yep.
we can always use Bitcoin for reference. When Bitcoin went to 16, $17,000 in 2017, right there at the end of it into January 1st, people would have said, man, to buy back in at $12,000 is crazy. But then if you talk to someone now, they're like, man, I wish I'd have bought it at $12,000 because look where I would have been today. So it's always, and again, those situations can come back and bite you in the butt because we are relying on people to do what they say they're going to do and keep the utility running and make the business connections that they've made to get a company to continue to grow.
Yep.
And that's something we, as investors, we don't have control over. We don't have, when we buy into these crypto projects, we don't have voting rights. We're not sitting down at a board, talking to them on what their next move should be, what the community wants. Some of them just run with what they think the community wants, and in terms that can tank a project. So it's, whether it's Ondo, whether it's Omni, I mean, hbar, any of these companies that we look at and say, man, these companies have a really great run. Again, it's almost like a month by month basis as to how is their team going to perform and what connections are they going to make, which ultimately help our wallets. So
Yep, for sure.
Well, the Arrow one though, that was the one that is interesting. What is that? Like it's a financial token from what I'm seeing and so forth. But what is your knowledge on that? Is that even something worth looking at and putting in
So
your
I'll,
bank?
I'll be honest, it was just brought to my plate 2 days ago. And I've not even dug into it. I've not looked into it. I've not researched the team. I've not researched anything other than a few people in the Discord sent me a message and said, hey, you need to look at this project, do some research on it, let us know what we think. So it's actually on my to-do list to go through and look at and start to dissect.
Fair.
But it
All right.
looks promising.
Yeah, I actually put a little to it just to see because I was like, well, hell, it got down to 75 cents. I think I jumped in 2K worth at 78 cents and just said, hell, I'll just see where it goes. But it has
Dude,
shot
I
as high
love your
as
I
40.
love your investment style, man. Like I think me and Jason should just give you our money and
I
say,
tell
dude,
him
just
all the time,
like
I'm like, bro,
you just slingshot stuff. It's like, oh man, that looks good. Bam. You
yeah,
know?
yeah.
I love it because that's something. I mean, there's so many people that sit on the sidelines, even with I mean, it can be $10, it can be 1,000 that they've got sitting there, and they'll be like, you know what? I need to save that money for a rainy day. And it's like, you have a day job, you have
Yeah.
cash flow. What rainy day are you going to have? Just slingshot it. I mean, obviously, don't do that if that's all the money you've got, But I mean, when you're smart with it, man, you can make some killer moves. There's a guy that sent me he's in our Discord. Obviously, I'm not gonna put his name out there because he may not want everyone to know. But I mean, this guy, just started saying, I'm gonna put $1,000 a week into different crypto projects because I've got the cash flow to do it. He's a business owner here, makes pretty good money. His house is paid for. I mean, his cars are, everything's paid for. So he's like, I look at myself being the age that I am, and if I was having to pay for a house payment, pay for cars, pay for this, I'm probably going to spend 4 to 5 thousand a month. So I should be able to take $4,000 a month and inject it into this crypto stuff. Man, God, he's only three months into this total, which I mean puts him at like 12 grand invested. He sent me pictures of his portfolio this morning. He's already up $42,000
Nice.
across all projects. And all he's doing is once a week, he's putting $1,000 into the lowest coin that's went down in value. So out of all the coins we've talked about, all the coins we've mentioned in the Discord, whichever one is the lowest for that week, throwing 1,000 in it. Next week, what's the lowest? 1,000. And it's like he's hitting. And I mean, if we hit the bull market we want to and everything goes back up, 40, 50, 1x, I mean, dude, his portfolio is going to be crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm doing into the tax-free ones. Now we'll because someone asked me about that, and we'll get into that in the Q&As. Jeff, just before we go on Arrow, I just looked at it real quick. It's a market maker on Base. So what I believe is, they keep the market moving in terms of trading on the Base network, which is related to Coinbase. Andy can maybe give a little bit more on that. But and it looks like you can stake it and earn a bit of the protocol's trading fees, which is pretty cool if you think about that. So you're kind of like, almost in on part of the investment, the whole stake of what they're getting on their fees. So it sounds like it's here to stay. I mean, if it's involved in Base and market making, but like Andy said earlier, trade at your own risk, and they got to keep making their own ways through the market. But yeah, that's what it does.
And if you don't mind talking about staking, that's actually one of the questions that was sent on the Discord to me if we would touch on staking. So whenever we're ready for questions, just remind me to talk about that because I think that's important for people to understand what staking is.
Yeah, and we can also talk about Base because I think that's something important to talk about in Coinbase Wallet. Just because they're a little different. The one thing I wanted to say before I move on to the news thing I wanted to cover real quick, and then we'll get into our Q&As, was I appreciate you saying that, Andy. I sometimes will sit there and just be like, and then I told myself I'm always like, fuck it, man. Like I'm still working. My ability to make money is there. The worst case I'm gonna do is have to figure out how to get a few more clients to make up that burn. But what Nick said also stuck out to me 2 weeks ago. People who hold on to projects too long. And I'm one of those people, like if it starts no diving, I've scooted out and scooted over to something, caught the wind back up like in Bitcoin before, and then just moved back over in when the position got better and I wasn't so flipped. So I think it's just a matter of paying attention and keeping an open mind to it. And your Discord group, I hear a lot of different ideas. I see a lot of different approaches. So I'm one of those people, try it. And then between Jason telling me what to do a lot, I take a lot of his strategies and kind of do it. Albeit though, Jason will tell you if he gave me the amount of money he want to invest it every month, I would probably 5x it and he would probably have to look the other way. But I think in a year, he'd be very happy with the choices I made because I'd be like, fuck it, we're doing it.
Yeah. Every time I talk about a position, just like, yeah, if I had you're coming in, I would put 10 G's in that right now. I'm like, I don't know, I'm gonna throw 500
I'm
bucks.
like, dude, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's been proven. I mean, if you go back and you look at every crypto project over the course of the last 5 years that has been a top trending, 20 to 30 coin, and you look at it, the gains are there.
Yep.
It just scares people. And I talked about this on the Zoom that I had the night before. People tend to look at a chart through a magnifying glass and it looks like a roller coaster ride. But then when you take the magnifying glass away, it looks like this, because you're looking at it from, a larger scale and it looks safer. It's just those daily runs. I mean, I've been involved in projects where I refresh and it's like, man, I'm sitting on 25K. The next day you refresh, you're at 18K. The next day you refresh, you're at 15K. The next day you refresh, you're at 30K. And you're like, whew, so I've learned that sometimes it's best not to have that daily refresh and just say, I'm going to look at this at the end of the month. I'm going to look at this and you don't ride that roller coaster as much.
I think what I do personally is I literally won't look at my total, but if I need to check certain coins right now that I'm DCAing into because I need to know when they're down. So I don't always get into the minutia of what my total portfolio is at right now.
Yeah.
So then I can just watch the actual coins that I need to watch so I know when to put more in. That's worked for me. So
I wanted to kick off this news because I thought you guys find this interesting. It came out yesterday. In a portion of support Unchained status, this is coming from Bitcoinist.com. The Trump administration may not launch a formal crypto council after all. Instead, the White House will likely gather a rotating group of crypto leaders for a series of summits on specific crypto policy issues, according to three sources familiar with the decision-making process. It remains unclear how many summits the White House is considering or exactly what they would take place or where they would. Two of the sources said that the industry trade associations have been weighing in on potential formats discussion. But it appears to stem from the Trump team's desire to steer clear of power struggles with the broad crypto ecosystem, industry players have increasingly splintered into factions, including Bitcoin maximalists, proponents of decentralized finance, DeFi backers, centralized exchanges, and others with differing visions of integration with traditional finance. They previously expected the launch of a president council advisor for digital assets, but they kind of like seem that this is all going to kind of go to the side. But underneath the initial proposal, crypto and LSR, AISR, David Sachs will serve as chair and former congressional candidate Bo Hines be executive director. And so that's kind of what they're looking at in terms of that setup. So what do you guys think about that? What do you make of that?
So,
That's an interesting
so
kind of side lateral step, if you ask me.
Yeah.
yes, I mean, so for me, I mean, we kind of saw that coming when we were talking about the whole Trump thing,
Yeah.
about how, he talked a lot prior to, the election, obviously being elected prior to the inauguration. And then once he gets in office, it's kind of tiptoeing around, walking on eggshells, not coming, behind a pulpit, if you will, and saying, hey, this is what we're doing with crypto. This is the next move. This is how we're going to move it. So it's much easier to take people at these summits and bring in the speakers, bring in the people from different exchanges, different financial groups, have them speak, and then the weight's on them and not necessarily the president. He's just kind of giving them the option and the opportunity to speak there in front of the American people. So that's how I took it when I was reading that article and was hearing things, was it's taken the focus off of him, putting on people in the community that are leaders to put it out, and that way it's not his words, it's other people's words. So if it backfires, it doesn't hit him, which is probably what he's been advised to do. I mean, let's be honest, his counsel and advisor and attorneys and everyone he's got working with him is probably telling him, don't go on stage and say this. Let other people say it so it doesn't get you entrapped in this whole mess that could blow up in front of your face.
Probably that's actually a really smart way of looking at it. The other one I want to cover.
Personally, I think the market's waiting for Trump to come out and say something.
They are. I mean, it is the
That's
ball,
why we're chopping sideways.
Yeah, the ball is in his court, and I think it's, if you truly want to change the wealth of America in the hands that are holding it and help the little guy, we need crypto to run. I mean, you got to think about how many people have $2,000 or $3,000 sitting in an account that if it truly runs, that gives them 20K, or the people that are buying into, I mean, even though it's goofy as it sounds, the Trump token, he's the president, he's got his own token. Make that token worth something with utility. You've already got it out there. People are already holding it. He showed the masses how big it could be. I mean, it's literally the ball is in his court to change the wealth of America. All he's got to do is say something.
Yep. Yep.
The other interesting piece I want to bring up before we get into Q&A was GameStop looking to buy
buying
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
I was like, man, they're really doubling down on their strategies to keep it afloat and really prevent Wall Street from eating them. I guess roaring kitties back.
Number one,
Yep.
I mean, it shows how much Bitcoin is going to be scarce. I mean, right? But then also, Andy, how are we supposed to have alt season if all these damn people keep buying up all this Bitcoin? Like the dominance is just going to stay high. Like, how's this going to happen?
Man, well, I mean, obviously, altcoins are what's going to be, and viewers, don't shoot me. I'm just the messenger. Bitcoin is going to be your upper class token. It's going to be that token that when people have it, that's your upper class. When you sit down and have dinner with someone and someone says, man, yeah, I've got 5 Bitcoin, you're going to look at that as upper class token. I've got 20, 30 Ethereum, upper class token. And then your altcoins are going to be your middle class, so the people that are typically in that middle class environment are what's going to be fuels the altcoins. And then you're going to have people that are, lower class, and that's going to be your memes. And I mean that because your memes are what people are going to throw $100 into, hoping to make a grand, hoping to make 50 grand, whatever. And then altcoins are going to be middle class mentality of let's be safe, let's think about this, let's strategically get into this because again, we need that middle class to gauge the buffer of the high class. And then your people that are high class, upper class, whatever you want to call it, they're not even looking at alts because they already are probably making that money. And they're like, let's just throw it in Bitcoin as a safe haven to let it sit there and run and just have that, I guess, gauge of the dollar's going down. Bitcoin's always going to go up based on all the companies that are buying it and banks and whatnot. So that's kind of how I'm gauging it is it's going to Bitcoin's going to continue to get that dominance because of the money that's going to flow into it from banks in the higher class. And I mean, obviously, when I say that, don't, viewers, obviously, don't think that if you're buying alts, you're like, oh, I'm high class. I mean, yeah, there's millionaires and there's
Oh, one,
billionaires that are
yeah,
buying altcoins all
definitely.
day. But I think that that's going to be how people view it is people with substantial amounts of money can go buy 10 Bitcoin and know that 5 years from now, they're making a crap ton of money.
Yeah.
Whereas people that throw in, 100 to 200 grand, 10 grand or 5 grand in altcoins are still going to make a substantial amount of money, but there's a higher risk with that than there is obviously dumping it in Bitcoin for the larger returns, at the percentage base.
Yep. Yep. Makes sense.
Um, I know we have a Q&A planned.
Yes,
I
sir.
actually had a Q&A and me and Jay were chatting about this. Someone actually said, could we explain a little bit better about what it's like living off of cryptocurrency and how you talked about, the money's there for the green. They're like, yeah, I guess people are just having a hard time wrapping their mind around it. So I thought I'd kind of kick it off. So what I did was I went and took all the money that I would normally get used for groceries, gas, incidentals, out to eat money, everything like that. And I went and put it all in my checking, all in the Coinbase as Bitcoin. And then,
Ooh, nice. All
yep, I
right.
then went under. So yeah, and well, here's the kicker: your Coinbase card gets you 0.5% or 0.05% back, whatever it is, Bitcoin. So every time I'm swiping it, I'm
Oh, no
getting,
shit.
yeah, dude. So like, if I'm getting gas, I'm getting Bitcoin. I go to Publix, I get Bitcoin. I buy hookers and below if they accept debit, and then I'm getting crypto Bitcoin. But the point being is, so I'm doing that, and of course, the money goes up and down all the time, but it's already like slowly starting kind of going up. But what you do is, if you have Coinbase Advanced, like I tell everybody, you can go underneath, and if you scroll off to the left, like the menu is your profile, and go down, there's a segment called Card. And then when you go over to that, you can actually like look up, you can tap, you can pick the currency you use. Okay, so I chose to put my living currency underneath Bitcoin. It tends to be the most stable. It's not
Right.
going to hit you in a gutter like Suku did me for a minute, where I didn't have any mobility to kind of move like I wanted to on some things. So, I found that one to be free flowing, and plus I get the Bitcoin returns. It's just a matter of mindset. Like it's weird to look at your checking account and be like, oh, there's only a few $100 there. And but being like, oh, I have this debit card over here that's worth it. It's just really a different mindset. And I think the advantage that I have with doing this is I know I'm probably going to work till the day I die just because I tend to be a mentally stimulated person like that. So I will always have a source of money. So I don't really fear about losing money too much. And I don't invest more than I can lose. But I was curious to see what it felt like. And I
Yeah.
can say that it felt the same as living off my debit card. The panic of watching the number drop is the same as watching the number drop in the bank account. But the only difference, Jay, I can say that I've really enjoyed was watching about 17 transactions in 7 days get me Bitcoin. So my
Yeah.
Amazon gets me Bitcoin, like stop at the gap, everything.
Yep.
So that was the advantage to me. And I feel like,
Jeff, did you just move it, I assume, in one fell swoop and
yeah, I
like
moved it all. So
work
I have
behind?
Yeah, so years ago I did the Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University because I trained a couple who the husband worked for Dave Ramsey. So he paid for every year Dave Ramsey gives out free shit for them to give away. So I got the financial peace. So I went for like 12 weeks, learned a lot of stuff, but I learned how to create a budget. And so every time I get paid, this amount of money automatically gets allocated into these areas. And before I was doing like the profit first two different saving accounts with a checking account, kind of manipulating it out that way. And this time I just said, well, hell, I know like $2,000 for 2 weeks goes over there for Bitcoin or for groceries, food, gas, shit. Just move all 2K over at once. And that's what I did.
My struggle
Yeah.
with it, I want to hear Andy's take on it, but like, okay, I have a sizable position in my checking account. If I move all that into Bitcoin, I'll acquire a couple Bitcoin. But right now, my DCAing into Bitcoin, I'm down 5%. So if I moved like 200 G's over to Bitcoin right now, I'd be down like, what is that, 20 grand? I ain't making that back up and getting that little bit on that card. So it's like, how do you take that leap if you're dealing with a decent size of money? I can see throwing 5K in there, but then I still got all this money in my checking. So I'm not really doing it. So I don't know. I don't know how you jump in with a sizable amount of money and then just see that thing tank. That's where I'm like, oh, I don't know about
And I,
that.
Jay, I
and I
got
think that's where
Oh, I was just gonna say you should have gone to that's where you put like if you got 100K in the bank, you put like a little bit over to Bitcoin. I was throwing the rest of the shit in like B3 base and just let it build. And then you scoot around. I mean, I think there's 100 different ways to skin it, how you would do that money, but man, it's wild to watch it play out. So I'm curious to see what Andy has to say.
Well, that's me. I mean, it's like just talking about the card. Last year, I got $2,348 on my Coinbase rewards. And all that was paid out to me in XLM because that's what I picked.
Okay.
So out of the XLM that I got at like 2,800 bucks, just where XLM's setting right now is almost a 3x. So for numbers sake, my rewards that I got back is now worth almost
7,000.
$9,000,
Yeah.
which is huge. So I'm able to spend that money with my debit card for free. And if XLM goes back to where it was at 63 cents, that's a 6x on my money. So
Yeah.
now that $3,000 is worth 18 grand.
Okay.
So I'm just spending that free money. But I also, like, Jeff said, best, you don't kind of have all your eggs in one basket. So, like, if you were to take the 200K and throw it all in Bitcoin, then yes, you're going to see massive swings. But if you've got, 50 grand in Bitcoin, 10 grand in base, 10 grand in Sucru, 10 grand in hbar, 10 grand in Sol, 10 grand in Omni, you're able to look on a daily basis to see, okay, how much money have I made in each coin? And you can change your currency that you're spending. So, like for me today, if I pull up my Coinbase card and let's see here. So, let's say I'm going to go out and I'm going to spend money today. If I look at my portfolio for the day, it's actually staying pretty flat. There's no coin that's made me a ton of money today.
Yeah. Same.
The highest one today is going to be
XRP with mine.
Suku.
Okay.
Suku's made me $300 today
Yeah.
in just the holdings I have on here. So it's like, okay, that's not bad. I've got $300 I could spend today that's technically free money. That's how much I am. So I could switch it to, my Suku card. If I go look at XRP, today's return on XRP is 13%.
Yeah.
So my holdings have made me 13% in XRP. So again, I could use XRP and use the money that's in there. So I kind of having it all split out. I mean, even HBAR is up 8% today. You've got Dogecoin that's up 10% today. So if you start adding all those up, that you've got your money, spread out, I'm up probably 60% total just in my portfolio on those few coins, which gives me a substantial amount of money to spend today that's technically free. Now, free if I got in at an earlier price. If
Yeah.
I bought in at the top and I'm only up 10% today, obviously I'm spending money that I haven't made. But all those coins are ones that I got in, months ago, or I scaled in during all of 2023. So it's kind of just free money that I'm spending.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of and obviously when you guys look at your Coinbase account, and I say you guys, the viewers, look at your unrealized return as well.
Yeah.
So like for me, I got an H bar late. So while I'm up today 9%, technically in my unrealized return, I'm down 25%. So if I were to go spend H bar today, I'd be spending a negative balance.
Alan. Yeah.
But if I go look at something like B3 that I got into, my unrealized return is 40%.
Nice.
So technically, the smart move for Andy today would be to spend B3 if I was looking to use my Coinbase card and spend that money looking at the unrealized for the total amount of the investment.
Now you
And I mean,
use that every day, or do you just kind of like occasionally here and there? I'm up in this position, or you pretty much just run everything on crypto, right?
yeah, I pretty much run everything through my Coinbase card,
But
essentially. I mean, obviously, there's going to be times that I'm down in stuff,
yeah,
where let's say I'm looking at Bitcoin, it's like, man, I'm down 9% today, but I really want to use this for, gas and food, then I'm still going to swipe it because really it's if I've got money in my bank account, while that dollar amount isn't moving, it's still just sitting there not doing anything. So I may spend $300 of Bitcoin, but then tomorrow Bitcoin gets up to $105,000. It makes up for what I spent anyway. So I mean, it's a mind shift change.
it
I
is.
think when people get in on the lower amounts during a bear market, it makes spending easier
Yeah,
because you're getting in and you're looking at your portfolio and you're like, man, my whole portfolio is up 10x. I mean, the thing about it, you go in a portfolio during a bear market with 100 grand, bull market comes, you're up 10x, you've got $1 million, you've got a $900,000 buffer
Yep.
to spend some money and enjoy life. And most people hopefully aren't blowing through $900,000 in a month or even a year, So I mean, you should be able to stretch that out, a bit. And if you're up that much, and this again, viewers, please take note of this. If you put $100,000 into your Coinbase wallet during a bear market, and during a bull market, you look at it and you're sitting on $1 million, cash out.
Take profit.
Cash out. Take
Yeah.
that money and throw it in USDC. Congrats. You just made yourself a millionaire. And now strategize on what's my next move. Are
Yep.
you waiting on the next bear market? More than likely, yes. And then guess what? When that bear market comes, now instead of putting 100 in it, put $200,000 in it. And then when that bull market comes back, now you may have $1.5, $2 million. And you just rinse and repeat. But there's patience because, as you guys know, some bear markets can last 3, 4, 5 years. But when they hit, as we heard Nick say, Nick Comodino, we were talking to him, it took him 6, 7 years to build his portfolio how he wants it. But look what the patience has done for how much money he's made.
Right. Yeah.
And that's kind of what people have to remember. So for me, I just think it's fun because I like supporting this movement. And the one thing I do want to say is the question that was then proposed, well, what happens if they lock it up? Well, here's the deal. Okay. I've had my bank account locked up a fuck ton. I had it locked up one time when I was going for custody of my kid, as Jason knows, and the state of Tennessee decided to ding me for $18,000 when there was like 200 bucks in it at the time. And the bank locked me. And that was 2 weeks before I got anything back. So anymore, I don't see the issue between looking at your money online versus versus the app you're looking at it anymore.
Yep.
Because it's all fictitious. It's just numbers you're looking at on a screen. And I think where it's housed. So for me, the Bitcoin strategy's done good, but I have like if I've gone to put the money in, like Jay, just so you know, like the other day I loaded up and saw Bitcoin was down. Well, I threw it in an XRP that was breaking even at the time, where I was already in it and just threw it there. And then it's been going up. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I think it's just kind of like, if you're into it, you'll play around, you'll find it. But I say it's all a matter of what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
I promise I'd go for the whole year and see what it was like. And I don't feel any more stressed at all. So I just think it's about matter of how you look at money, which I know, Jay, you and I have talked that you got a little bit more of a scarcity mindset to that than necessarily I will on some of the stuff. Like I'm more quick to like, case will cover dent. I'll tell Andy, hey, I swooped in and threw $2,000 at slingshot that motherfucker when he said on the dent.
Dude, I mean, look at what if you look at the moves on Dent alone, Dent has amazing swings if you're moving your money around the right way. I was just talking to a buddy about that this morning.
Yeah.
And when you look at the daily moves of Dent, like right now, from its low point that it hit, I mean, it's already shot up 50%.
Oh, damn, is it? Man.
Yeah. And I mean, that's huge. I mean, our scale 1 was 0.009, 05. That was scale 2 on the way down. It broke that, obviously went down lower, but I mean, just from our scaling in that we gave from our lowest points, already up 10%. Like I just opened up one of my, Phantom wallets, and I've got Dent in there that I use to throw around in meme coins. And I was like, holy cow, I'm up a ton right now in something. I couldn't figure it out. And when I clicked on Dent, I was like, holy cow, that's 50% that I'm up in Dent. It just has those violent swings. When it goes down, it's so cheap. People are like, man, we'll go ahead and buy some. So I think it's just looking at those plays. I mean, same with like, I know Jeff mentioned Hash AI the other day. I mean, Hash is up 12% for the day almost, which is when you've got, again, when you're able to play with 100 grand, hey, those 10 to 12% swings, that's some fun cash in one day.
That's my goal, baby. That's my goal. Have 100K and start swinging it. Big dick. 10, 12%.
I love it.
With that being said, so hopefully if that did not cover it to those who are interested, if you all say the question a different way, maybe we could cover it a different way, but I think we've covered that about as good as we could cover it.
I want to keep you up. I want you to keep us updated on how that's going over episodes.
I think it's more mentality. Yeah, go ahead.
We were talking about Trump token.
Yeah.
It just shot up.
Did it?
From
from last night till today, 46%.
Oh wow. It was
Yeah,
down low. It
talking
was
about
like
my portfolio.
$6.
I just refreshed my portfolio, and I was like, holy cow, it has doubled itself since last week, and Dent is 50. Yeah, I mean, dude, this is some good signs. I like to see this.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'll give you guys updates since I'm like the new guy to the party with the least amount of money. So I makes me
No, that's not
go out there
true.
the majority of the audience. I'll be like, yeah, guys, I'll take the risk. I'm all for it.
Well, no, I think it's good.
Hell yeah, I'm all for it.
Like you said earlier, the benefits of this podcast is there's three dudes here who do things completely different, but we have the same end goal.
Yep.
We all want to be rich, bald-headed dudes with fat beards with
Yeah,
supercars. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm waiting on that beard thing, both of y'all. Got you guys smoke.
But yeah, no, we I know, dude. So if my beard was so big, it was like down to here, and she was like,
Yeah,
"I can't see your neck," and I went, "But you don't understand. My beard makes me look so much more jacked and like a
Yeah.
villain. I've got to keep it." But obviously, I trimmed it down for her, so I'm living vicariously through you for your beard and vicariously through Jason for his muscles. But I think it's cool because our viewers are going to get to see what it's like for you, Jeff, as a business owner who is going all in on crypto and sharing your journey. And then you've got Jason, also a business owner, entrepreneur, who is also going all in with different his thesis looks different for how he's analyzing the market, how he's moving his money, how he's putting his money in. And then someone like myself, an entrepreneur, a business owner who's been doing it now for 13 plus years in crypto, 19 plus years in the market. And my strategy is even different than both of yours, but sometimes I'm a slingshot guy, sometimes I play it safe. So I think it's cool because fast forward a year from now, I honestly think we're all going to end up in the same place. We're just taking different roads to get there based on our own emotions, our
Yeah.
own money management, and everything.
Yep.
I agree 100%. Well, Andy, I can kick it to you then. Jason, you could go after
Sure.
him. The question you got. What is staking? We wanted to cover that. I wrote that down. Can you explain what that is to our audience and kind of like how that benefits? I saw Solana's will be anywhere from like 6.8 to like 8% APR or APY, sorry. But what is staking?
And you said this was for me?
Yeah, you're the best
Okay,
one to
perfect.
answer. Not I
so
do not
so
know.
staking allows you to lock up your coins on different exchanges or wallets. And by locking them up, it's their way of saying their people aren't going to start moving money around. So it allows them to not have people dump their tokens, increase the value as more people are buying, and then locking up to the side. I love staking, but I just had this conversation with a guy on the Discord. His name's John. Super, super amazing guy. And I told him I like staking from a standpoint of a coin that has the stability and the history of what it's performing as. When you have coins that come out and say, hey, we're going to pay you 600%, APY for staking your coins, that's a red flag for me because it's like, why are they willing to pay me so much to lock my coins up? Do they know something I don't know? And what you typically see is there's a massive pump that comes. And now when you want to cash your money out, you can't because it's locked up in staking. And sometimes the staking, let's say you can withdraw your money, but you've got fees or you have fines. And then sometimes it takes 5 days and sometimes it can take 30 days for you to get your money. So imagine you're sitting here, you're someone like Jason, you've got 100 grand to a coin, you stake it, it's been going a little sideways, and then all of a sudden you wake up, you refresh your portfolio, it's sitting at $400,000, and you're like, oh crap, I want to take that profit. You go to unstake, and you're like, oh man, I can't unstake for 30 days. 30 days passes by, you go in, now you're back to $80,000, less than your 100. You made some free coins along the way,
Yep.
but not what you should have. And
Yep.
that's what I've normally seen happens in staking. Now, I do stake my XLM now. After I saw how much it grew, and XLM has a great staking package on Coinbase, I went ahead and took all my XLM and said, however much I make, I'm throwing it 100% into staking because I don't plan on living on it. I know it's a good token. I know their utility is great. And in the grand scheme of things, if it's going to pay me back X amount and this thing is going to constantly grow over the years, I'm okay with staking it. But it's a personal preference. And again, the larger stakes where you see 600 to 1,000%, just be wary of that because typically that means there's going to be a massive pump coming and you probably can't get your money in time.
That makes no sense. Jay, what's the question you got? I was looking at that.
People were asking me, um, I mentioned something about RWA, real world assets, and tokenization, and people asked me what that means and then what coins maybe would be good to get into it. So I'll give you my take on it as far as what I understand. Um, and I'm still learning, and then Andy can, fix me wherever I'm wrong. But um, real world assets, I believe at least it partly came from, being able to tokenize first and foremost, like US bond securities, which you can do now. I think Grayscale does that or offers it. So, there's an actual asset behind the tokens you're buying. So bonds are one right now. And I think that's being done on Ondo. So I bought a lot of Ondo, and when it tips, I like to get in, and I'm buying more Ondo because it's a blockchain layer one where real world asset tokenization is supposed to be really taking off. And I think it's going to be a big narrative, this play. So that's how I understand it. It represents a real world asset. There are times it gets thrown around, and I don't really feel like it's truly there yet. One of them that I'm watching, and you guys can look at it, is called Crypto Autos. It's a cool site. They have a really great site. They're
Throw anything
selling.
at that yet?
I haven't done anything yet.
Come on, throw 500 at it.
And
Come
and
on, Carl.
so yeah, I keep looking, I keep reading. I don't think it's going anywhere yet. But they have a real website, they have a real business model. Looks like, again, these are interviews, they could lie, but they're making good money. But right now you just use the crypto, you can use crypto and they convert it to US dollars and then buy the car. So it's not really real world assets yet, even though they're kind of lumping it under there. To me, it would be a real world asset if they bought, 10,000 10, 100, whatever Lamborghinis, and we all bought coins and they represented by those Lamborghinis going up in value. But I think they're trying to get to that direction. But crypto autos is one that I see lumped under. It's like the market cap is 6 million. That's so low, which means it's very volatile. But like it could go to 100 million one day. I mean, they are working. If you get on their Twitter, they are active. They have like 200 some thousand followers, I think. So I don't know. I'm watching that one, but Ondo's a safe play. Andy, correct me where I'm wrong and where you need to fill in the gaps.
No, I mean there wasn't any gaps. You filled that one in great.
Okay, cool.
The next question that was asked, and I think this kind of gets into we could cover Base and Coinbase Wallet together. So Andy, I don't know enough. I've now to get Dent and Hash AI, I had to be on Coinbase Wallet. And that's like a whole nother app in itself, which is paying the ass to like figure out how to put your Ethereum. Do you want it on base, not on base? Blah. And it confused me for about all of 15 minutes till I had to like go take a hit off the pipe. And then I came back after some clarity from Mary Jane. But what is Base, first of all? And then like what is the Coinbase wallet? How are these different than the Coinbase app, I guess, than what
So yeah,
people
so Coinbase built Base basically just to have another highway, if you will, for Ethereum. Everyone thinks that Base is its own, network, its own token, all this stuff, and it doesn't. They just run off the Ethereum network. But Coinbase saw, a need for having just their own I mean, man, like I say, I hate to say it's their own token because it's not. It's just using Ethereum, but it allows them to have other projects that are running on Base, if you will. So I have some notes here, and I tell everyone think of Base as like your side road. You've got your Ethereum, which is the highway. That's the main highway it's going. And then, ETH is the toll money that you're having to use as you're driving to pay going through all this other stuff. And then Base is just kind of this side road over here that's running parallel, to Ethereum. It's just another layer that allows Coinbase to get in and play with.
Is it
Now,
considered
what the
layer two, Andy? Or
yeah, I
yeah,
believe so.
okay.
And what it also allows people to do is, again, people want to have something that's different. They don't want to be on Ethereum, like quote unquote ETH. They don't want to be Bitcoin. So Base was like, hey, let's just build this off Coinbase. Let's give people something else to work off of. And then I think Coinbase has a bigger play with it. I mean, obviously, we don't know what that bigger play is because Brian Armstrong really hasn't come out and said, hey, this is what I want the ultimate goal for Base to be. And if he has, I've missed it. I've not seen it. But I mean, anytime Coinbase does anything on their own, there's a bigger play to it. We saw it when they released Coinbase Advanced. It's like now you could trade on it as you would a trading platform. So it's like, they knew something we didn't. And then they had the Coinbase wallet. And the Coinbase wallet, which goes to that question, everyone has like a Phantom wallet, a Trust wallet. I mean, you've got all these other wallets you can use. So Coinbase was like, why don't we just have our own wallet?
Yeah.
So they may not support it on Coinbase to purchase it from your bank account. but you can have your own wallet on Coinbase and you can swap for other tokens. So the Coinbase wallet is just like any other wallet. It's a wallet you can swap with, hold tokens with, all that great jazz, but it's not going to be like Coinbase app where you're buying directly from your bank account into a coin that they hold on their platform. So
Yeah, I
does
mean,
that
think
make
of it
sense?
like they're smaller market caps usually. Like they haven't
They
graduated
are.
Coinbase, so you got to get them from the wallet. So they're probably bringing them up from you pay Coinbase, and they probably go get them from what, Binance or one of the other
Yeah, I mean,
smaller.
they just take it from all the exchanges they hold, and sometimes it's from people's wallets because there's people that are, selling over here. So they'll
Yeah,
just boom, swap, boom, pull over here. And as we saw, and the one thing we have to be careful for is, we saw this when people were using Coinbase as a whole, is when the whole thing happened with the Trump token. There were
yeah,
8 million transactions that they couldn't get through because they didn't have enough Solana.
yeah.
Coinbase did not have enough Solana to give to people that were buying it. So it just goes to show even a powerhouse like Coinbase can run low on this stuff because they're having to take it, from everywhere else. So I tell people when you're trading any coin, go to Coin Market Cap and look at the markets and see where it's being traded the most on. And that's where you're going to have the most liquidity if you need to exit a coin. Because I've been on wallets before where I've been in a coin that's been up and I'm like, man, I've got $30,000 worth of profit. I need to swap this now. I go to swap, error out, swap, error out. It's like,
Yeah.
what the hell's going on? Where you hold 30,000 of it, you go to Coin Market Cap and you're like, oh man, there's only 120 grand on this whole wallet. You can't get out sometimes. So you always want to trade on exchanges and or wallets that hold the bulk majority of that token.
And then Jeff, what you were talking about, like Base and Ethereum, I think that does kind of trip people up at first. So like Hash I believe is like an Ethereum token. Is that
Right.
correct, Andy? So like you're going to need Ethereum on Ethereum, not Base, to buy Hash AI.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the way
Well,
you
and
can
they do.
confirm that is on Coin Market Cap, right? Like
Yep.
they'll tell you.
Yep.
So you got to have the. So if you were buying a Solana coin that's on the Solana network inside of Coinbase Wallet, you would buy Solana, not Ethereum.
Correct.
So you got to watch what you're trying to buy and what network it originates from, and then pick your currency to swap into.
It is. And that's like, so people, that messes people up all the time on the Phantom wallet because they'll have like an Ethereum token and
Yep.
they'll swap it to a Solana token. And Phantom is one of the good wallets that allows you to do that. You can swap Ethereum
Without that.
directly into a
Yeah.
Solana token.
Yep.
It goes through a third party app,
Sure.
but the
Of course.
problem is it takes a lot longer and there's massive fees with it.
Yep.
So, if you're doing that, be sure it's much easier to swap Solana to Solana or Solana to USDC and then buy your token than is just to ultimately swap for that token. And, one other thing that I'd like to mention about, the base is Coinbase, when they did that, they wanted to make it also easier for onboarding new users and new Coinbase projects. So by having Base, it also allows some of those projects to get on so much easier because of how the network works and how they can plug them into Coinbase's ecosystem.
Got it. So
Right.
it's basically like a layer two onto Ethereum. So it's like on top of that blockchain, but it's just people can build their projects on that if they want, just like they can in
Correct.
Ethereum. Like Hash AI, we just says an Ethereum token. I think
Yeah.
B3 that Andy was, aping and crushed it, and Jeff got in. I didn't get in. I think that's a base token. So they built that on base.
Yeah.
Um, and it
And it
obviously,
carries the same security of Ethereum,
yes,
which everyone
correct.
loves because Ethereum security is unreal. So the
Yeah.
fact that they can build on that same network from a security perspective makes it even, more appetizing to them.
Yeah. Guys, when I was in crypto in 2018, a little bit in 2021, but not enough. When I got back into this, all these networks weren't around in 2018, and it took me a minute to get back up to
Yeah.
speed. And it will take you a minute, and you are going to have to be a student like anything else. You're going to have to Google what the hell's a layer one, what's a layer two, what's a layer three, what is base, what's Ethereum. You're going to have to do a little educating yourself if you want to play the game. I mean, Coinbase, the simple one, is easy, pretty easy, right? But if you want to get into some of these other coins that aren't offered, that where bigger gains are, but also it's more risky. Like I bought a lot of AI coins in Coinbase Wallet. I'll admit I'm down right now, like 50% on them. I just keep adding a little bit more because at this
Mhm.
point I'm all in, and then I have to believe it's going to pump. But that's where I got them on Coinbase Wallet. So
Which PAL had a nice little pump too. I know talking about AI coins, I mean, obviously it dropped massively,
correct.
all the way down to like almost 13, 14 cents. But I mean, as of today, it's up 17 cents. So I mean, it's almost a 10% gain.
Right. And on my one of my 500s, I'm doing well on that. But was one of the ding dongs that bought, I think, around 50 cents. So
There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm just waiting.
It's all time high was almost $1. We'll take
Yeah,
it.
exactly. So we'll be all right.
The only other question I had was, what is the best new strategy for taking profits you'd recommend for anybody new to crypto? And I thought that was a really good
Good one.
question because I was like, hey, I don't know because on mine I'm kind of letting it build, and if I get profits, I usually roll it into a coin when it's down and start stacking that way. I don't cash per se out of the app back into my checking account. That defeats what I'm trying to do. So, how do
Yep.
you do that, Andy?
Man, I think so. A newbie user, I think, needs to set through a bull market and a bear market with their wallet to see the fluctuation of prices, to give them an understanding of the base of what they have.
Yeah.
And the reason I say is because most users don't understand when a bear market is coming because they're hyped with what they've made. So let's say right now, let's say you've got 30, 40 grand in your wallet, Jeff, and this thing runs up and you refresh it and you're sitting at 120K. You have to make the decision at that moment. Is 120K enough for you to sideline all your money in Bitcoin or USDC? Or do you have the mentality that this thing's going to continue running and go to 200K? And no matter what decision you make, it's going to be the wrong decision.
Yep.
Yeah.
Chances are you're going to cash out in USDC because you're up a ton, and then it's going to run to 200K, and you're going to be like, ah, dang it, I missed 100 grand. Or it's going to completely tank back down to 30, 40,000, and you're going to say, I should have pulled it out. So I think everyone has to fill that first
Yep.
bull bear market scenario to give them a base of where they stand, where they're at emotionally, and they're technically not losing money because when the bull market comes back again, that number is going to go back up, and they're probably going to put more substantially amount of money back into it. Um, but if you're trying to be smart with it, I tell people look at it from a percentage standpoint. Most people that make 10 to 20% a year are stoked in a traditional market. If you're in a traditional market, you make 10 to 20% a year, you are super, super happy. In crypto, if we make 10 to 20% a year, we're sad, we're crying, we're upset. So that mentality has to be there that if you invest all this money throughout the year and you look at your P&L, and at the end of the year, you're up 50% or even double your money, I mean, that's a good sign to say, you know what? There's maybe a part of me that wants to sideline some of this money in USDC just in case some of these projects go down. And whether that's 50% of your portfolio, 20%, always pull just a little bit aside. And then if the market does have that bear market that comes, you've got money to inject in it that's on the sidelines that will ultimately get you back up to the top during a bull market. I think the people that should pull all their money out are the ones who get in with like 100 grand invested. And then one day that 100 to 150 grand, yeah, well, I'd say the average person that puts in for 2 or 3 years could probably get 50 grand. So we'll go on the low end, 50 to 100 grand, and then you get to a million. Man, I say pull it out in USDC and then wait for the market to crap itself
Yep.
and then start investing that back in.
Yep.
I don't think you should ever hold on when you refresh that portfolio and you see those seven figures setting there and say, oh man, yep, I'm leaving this in crypto because I love it. Nope, you can still leave it in crypto in USDC and let it set and then let the market tank itself to where everyone's crying about how much money they've lost, about crypto's stupid, crypto's dumb, and then slowly start injecting that money back in on the low points and just letting it build that way.
You'll
Uh,
never you'll never have a perfect exit.
Yep.
You'll
Uh,
always kind of second guess it, and
yeah.
well,
but if you
I
make
mean, guys,
profit,
it's like me with Gel Stool. The Gel Stool token that I called that went almost 50x. I was in that coin. I had my money in it. Like I put, it was like 178 bucks. It shot up. I made 1100. I pulled it out. It went back down. I threw 1100 in it. It went up to 4K and I'm like, should I scale in or pull it? But me being me, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to. I'm at 4 or 5 grand. It was like 4,300 and some change. I mean, it's bouncing back and forth. It's like off 175 bucks.
yep.
Yeah, I'm pulling this. I pull it out and go to bed. And I'm laying in bed. And my wife went, babe, how much money did you put in it? I was like, $175. She went, do you think you should put more money in it since it's down right now when you go to bed? I was like, no. She's like, you could wake up with a ton of money off of it. And I'm like, yeah, but I could also wake up and lose that money.
Yep.
And I sat there brushing my teeth and I looked at my wallet and I was like, man, I've got this USDC sitting here. I've got this Trump token and I've got a little bit of this PAL sitting here I could move around. And if I move this around, it's about 10K.
Mm.
And had I moved that 10K when I went to bed, all I had to do was click a button called
Yep.
swap. I woke up the next morning with 480 grand.
Yep. That's those mental gymnastics that I do too. Yeah.
And again, one decision would
Yep.
have made me $480,000. But guess what? I didn't make that decision because in my mind, I didn't want to lose 10K.
Yep.
So when I woke up the next morning, my wife was like, how's it looking? I was like, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about it. But again, like I told her, I can't be mad at myself. I feel good because in the end, I could have lost $10,000 and I've been really pissed off during the day.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, guys, you're just not going to time it. When I pulled out of hbar the first time, I did clear about 200K, but it went, if I'd have stayed in it, I would have done 400 and I had timed the top and then bought and perfectly get the bottom. I'd have like 5 million tokens. Those are the math games you play. It's impossible. You're not going to time it exact, but
nope.
take profit, whatever makes you feel good. A lot of times I assess if I already made some profit, I'm playing on the house's money, which a lot of my portfolio right now is, I'm going to let it ride. But if you're playing on your own money and you're up 2 or 3X, probably should take some profit. Maybe even just take a half and then let the rest run. Like you're going to get most of your money back out and then let the rest play, something like that. But I don't think there's a perfect strategy. It's what makes you sleep well at night.
Yeah, I mean that's what it boils down to. There's never, I mean, guys, being in this game for as long as I have, especially being a trader, you're never going to time the top of an exit. You're never going to time the bottom. I mean, and if you do, or anyone says, "Oh man, I got this perfect," it's called luck
Luck. Yeah.
because there's so much going on. So you've got to be happy, like Jason said, you've got to be happy with where you're at. And I mean, guys, again, there's nothing wrong with taking profits at 10, 20% on stuff because that's good money. I've got a good friend of mine and I actually coach him. And his strategy is not to hold anything. He holds no crypto, it's all USDC. And he'll go look at the charts. He'll find a coin that's bottomed out and he takes all of his holdings,
Oh,
all
wow.
of them, and throws it in that one coin. And his goal is 10 to 15%. The moment he hits that 10 to 15%, jerks it out, USDC, picks the next one. There's some coins that he gets in that he has to set in for quite some time to wait for it to break even and come back up. But I mean, more than none, he's making a crap ton of money just by catching that 10 to 15%. And I mean, obviously in cryptocurrency, it can happen because there's so many different opportunities to pick from. And
Yep.
you just need that one coin that's low, bottomed out for the week, bottomed out for the month, you get into, and boom, it hits. Move your funds over because no one ever went broke taking profits.
Yep.
Ever.
No, and that's how I kind of like when you guys hear from from as a newbie, and then let's get into the coin review. I guess my whole thing is, yeah, I'm taking profits, but still I'm going to keep buying in every month just because, if I'm wanting to live on it. So I think it comes back down, like you guys saying, comfort. Once you double your money, take it out, live on house money or triple your money, whatever it is. It's just like bodybuilding a lot, or nutrition or anything. You just have to have the commitment to follow through that what you're going to do is going to do it. And no matter what, it's going to bother you. Jason and I have competed a lot, and we will tell you it doesn't matter. We've done all these shows, we've had awesome looks, and we'll still go back and look and be like, maybe if I just done this or done that, there's always going to be those and everything. And I don't think you get through anything skin free on that, in my opinion.
The last question
No.
I had, Jeff, I know we need to wrap up, so I'll do it really quick. People have watched me talk about the narrative of tax free, and I guess some of them haven't been up to date on my story. So they said, "What are you talking about?" Guys, it's simply things that have been rumored that Eric Trump has talked about his dad making American made cryptos tax free eventually. I don't know when it'll happen. I talked to Andy, he said it might take 4 years. I mean, shit like that does take time. So what I do is I buy 8 that are in the top 20 or 30 coin. And that's Cardano, it's XRP, it's hbar, it's Ondo. I do Onyx coin that might be outside the top 30, but it is an American made and it's in the DeFi. And I got XLM. I think that should be about 7. And I put 500 into each a month. And I'm just going to let that damn thing roll. And I hope that I'm right. And if I'm not, they're top coins. Like Andy said, you pretty much look at 5 years that from 5 years ago and you look at the top 30 coins, they're really in a good spot. So I think in 5 years, no matter how it looks, I'll look good. If I hit it right and those become tax free, think of all the Americans that should be smart enough then to start investing in those. So that's what it means when I talk about that narrative.
No, and that's well said. And I know there's not really crypto laws. You're supposed to report this, your crypto, but there's not really, any much pressure. And I think that getting a smart leg up, like you're talking about, with doing the tax-free American stuff is cool. Plus, man, MAGA, let's make America great again and go all in on America first. So I'm a big person on that. I love it. Here in Nashville, my gym is supported heavily by locals over big corporate gyms. It's a big movement, and I like to see more of it. So, with that being said, let's get into our coin review. You ready? Run through this. Suku, which is American made. Let's go over that and
Yeah.
we scale. And I'll list them off after that, Andy, as we get moving. Oh, you're on mute. You're muted.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Suku, which is from our last meeting till now, it's down 17%. So, for people that are looking to scale in, we had a massive crypto day that I like to call it just it's a red day where you hear say blood on the streets. And that was February 3rd. On February 3rd, we saw everything in the crypto market take a massive hit. Most everything dipped 30, 40, 50% that day. And most altcoins have recovered from that dip, but they're still setting, like I said, Suku 17% down. And from the dip that it had, it's popped back up, 13%. So it's setting middle ways from its dip. I still think at 5 cents, it's a great opportunity to scale in if you've got some free money sitting on the side. And then talking about scale, scale's down 23% from our last meeting, which is past our buy zone. So again, another perfect, opportunity for scale. And when we say perfect opportunities, that doesn't mean you're going to go throw all your house money into it. It means, as you hear Jason say a lot, his dollar cost averaging, which is the DCA, it allows you to get in to where the price that you're buying a token goes down lower and lower every single time. So when you go into your Coinbase wallet, when you go into it, it'll allow you to see what your dollar cost average is. So if you go into it on your balance, you'll have today's return, unrealized return, and average cost. And when it gives you that average cost, as price goes down and you buy in, that average cost goes down, which means as price goes up, you're making more money. So scale is in a very good area. Dent is only down 12.5%, from its low point, which we were just talking about earlier, to where it's at now is almost 50%. So on February 3rd, if you were a part of our Discord or watching the market, you heard us say, holy cow, the bottom just fell out. If you've got side money, this may be a point to get in. So between just our coins, Suku, Scale, and Dent, if you got in on the bloodbath on February 3rd, your portfolio is up almost 100%. So imagine having 100 grand sidelined when February 3rd hit and it tanked. If you just took that 100 grand and went boom, 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 you've doubled your money since February 3rd till now, which is huge in the crypto market just in a few days. Render was on our list. It's down 12%. It's setting at $4.78, which is $1.30 below my buy area. So again, another beautiful place to dollar cost average in. XRP is probably the one that's done the best from our meeting. The meeting that we had, it's only down, man, 4%. But from the bloodbath February 3rd, that coin right there is up 55%. So just between Dent and XRP, you're up 100% from that day. So again, this is why it's so important to have that money sitting in USDC or just a stable coin in general, to where you can, if you see the market just tank, man, be ready. And also remember, you can use buy limits on Coinbase. So if you say, I've watched people make millions off doing stuff like this, saying, man, XRP right now is at $2.76. You know what? I'm going to be crazy. I'm going to put a buy order in for $1.25. And one day, something happens in the market, someone slips up and says something, this thing tanks, and it goes to $1.25, and then the next day it pops back up, you're making some fat money.
Mhm.
Next up on the list was XLM. From our meeting that we had, our last Friday meeting, XLM is currently down 17%. From the big push down, it's already up 35%. It's in between our buy zone. I said buy zones for XLM is a 0.31 to 0.37, so setting at 0.35, another good area to scale in. And then last up is our friend Jason here's most favorite coin, hbar.
Yep.
Hbar is up really nice from the February 3rd event. It's up 32%. And then from obviously our last meeting where we talked, it's setting at a negative 25%. So it's still in that buy zone of 23 cents to 26 cents that we had talked about. But man, I'll tell you what, it makes me upset that I didn't have my money sidelined on the third. I wasn't prepared for that. I was, if I'd have been prepared for it, I mean, we're probably setting it almost a 2x on
Yep.
all the money we could have pumped in that day.
And I didn't ape in. I was throwing 500 at my coins, but I didn't go big. I didn't go big because I didn't know if it was going to stop,
Yeah, no, you're
That's
right.
things you don't. So if you throw in, I had 10, 20, 30 sitting there I could have done, but then it's like, man, you could go down there 50%. So I
Yeah.
didn't do it. Just did small
But
ones.
then if you got Jeff over here and he would have had that sitting on the
He would have just
sidelines,
thrown it
it'd have
in.
been target practice all day.
He's texting me, dude, just throw that in. I'm like, I don't know, man.
Because I know how much is in his checking account. I'm like, bro, you're gonna be okay. Like, just breathe. Like, take a little risk. Like, the worst
Yep.
case is it goes down, rip it out, like move it over. Like, I don't know what. I guess that's been the cool part about my perspective on it with no financial background, not knowing how to read shit. So when I hear like Nick talk, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. If it drops more than 30%, I'll pull out, put it somewhere else. I hope I can recover that 30%, and then try to go on again,
Yeah.
and I think, Jay, when you're kind of like me and you're investing, like I looked at debt, like, oh, well, I could put 2 grand at that. That got me like 2.3 million tokens. Well, I got in at 0.0008 or whatever it is. If it actually goes back to 10 cents, that's like $200,000 or something stupid. Like,
Yep.
so you have some big chance in there. Is that going to happen? I don't know, but does 2 grand hurt to see? Not
No.
at all, because I know Dent has it, because I've watched it. He's not wrong. It doesn't have wild swings, so I haven't seen it drop maybe but 200, $300, even in the bloody shit that's been going on. So I think it's just, if you're going to do crypto, one of the things I love about it is I don't have to have a financial guy do it for me. I get to learn, I can see, I don't feel blind about it. I'm able to go, oh yeah, this, that, and the other. And I think that's cool. That's been my take on it.
And you know what? It's funny you mentioned that about a financial background. Me, the financial background I had was working, in consulting with companies, working in legal departments with, financial services. And, obviously, Jason has his. I think people with that financial background tend to be, even me, a little bit more cautious with how
Yeah.
we do things.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you're blessed not to have those teachings because it allows you just to say, hey, I'm looking at it from my perspective and my perspective is working. And the plus side is, like you said, it's when you don't have those violent swings and you're looking at the upsides and you're just refreshing it, trying to learn yourself of what fits. I think that's what makes crypto so much fun is because, guys, if you're listening to this and you've got a wealth management dude in a suit and tie telling you they're going to manage your crypto portfolio and take 15 to 20% of your earnings, I'm telling you now, figure this out on yourself
Yeah.
because with crypto, you can learn this, you can study it, watch this podcast, ask us questions, be part of the Discord, go have coffee with Jeff or Jason or myself. Figure this thing out because I'm telling you now, when you start figuring it out and you're making 50, 60, 100 grand a year during a bull market, the last thing you want to do is hand some dude in a suit 15 to 20 grand for him literally not even probably knowing anything about crypto, just throwing your money in here and hoping it works. There's a woman that I'm working with right now that she put money into Bitcoin when it was cheap. I'm talking stupid cheap. And now she's sitting on a few $1,000,000.
Nice for
And
her.
her wealth management guy charges her 15% a year at the end of the year P&L for how much she has. That's his money off the top. And aside from that, when she wants to make a withdrawal, he's charging her 20%.
Oh, damn. Wow. Yep.
And I told her you could have opened up a Coinbase yourself, thrown that money in there, and it would have grown the same way.
100%. Yeah.
Because I can promise you, he's not moved that money around.
No,
They let it set, they let it gain.
yeah, 100%. So, um, I actually feel that's the thing that attracted me to crypto. That's been the thing I think a lot of people have been attracted to crypto by. That you don't have to have someone there to manage it for you. You get Pierce to fail. I think that's why
Yep.
Robinhood's taking off and various other apps. But gentlemen, it was a hell of an episode. This won't release until we're all seeing each other next week. But it's
It's gonna be
been
fun. I'm so stoked, man.
oh, absolutely. Audience, we really appreciate you all tuning in. Guys, gals, everyone in between, the pot smokers like me, the LSD users, all the losers, the degenerates, and the apers. We really appreciate it. Share us, get the word out. We're just on here really trying to, we have no agenda. There's none of us selling you a meme token, none of us selling you shit other than sponsorships who help us out. And then most importantly, sharing as you hear 3 different journeys. So be sure to check in. We'll probably maybe have a surprise guest next couple weeks. We'll see what goes on, but at the very least, we'll be back. Ciao, everyone.
Y'all be good.
See you.